Alrighty, so tonight is October 21st, and our guest speaker is Sattan. Sattan, tell me how you pronounce your last name so I don't butcher it.
Heather, we lost you there.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
we couldn't hear you.
thank you. So tonight is October 21st, and we have Sattan speaking tonight. Sattan, how do you say your last name so I don't butcher it?
Acharya.
Acharya? Okay, so Sattan is actually becoming a somewhat dear friend of mine. He's in our cohort, and he's also in the corporate subgroup and in my peer and mentor group. So Sattan, do you want to just say a little bit about how you are connected with the program and what you do for a living?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. This is Sattan again. I'm calling in from San Diego. I'm really happy to be here and talking with you all today. I started meditating in about 2012. I'm originally from Nepal. I migrated here with my family. I went to school here. I did my master's in marketing. And then I got into this corporate area. I worked for a biotech company. I managed a small group owned by a Japanese parent company. That is it. That's in a nutshell about me. But really here today, we'll talk about mindfulness, how to incorporate mindfulness into business strategy. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, all right, great. So basically, the idea that came up is, we go out, we talk to the community, mainly the business community. We are being trained as mindfulness teachers. So when we go out in the community, there will be many situations. In some situations, we would be, very welcome. People will welcome us with a very, very open heart. But there will also be a time where, just let me share my screen. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, and then there will be the time where we'll be treated as an alien, as like weird people, speaking something crazy that probably, a lot of people will not have much idea. So the purpose of today's, conversation, today's discussion is, how do we do this conversation? How do we talk to people about mindfulness? And if somebody's interested, how to help them incorporate mindfulness into their business strategy. And in some cases, there will be people who do not know, and then also teaching them or kind of facilitating them how to incorporate mindfulness into business strategy. So with that in mind, what I'll do is I'll dial from like business level, the purpose of the business, why companies succeed, why businesses fail, and then, dive to really incorporating mindfulness into business strategy. And then after that, we can do a discussion or Q&A session. So, mainly the purpose of the business is, obviously you most likely all of you know this, is generate revenue from goods and services, earn profit, innovate and offer solutions to the problem that people have, and then attract, motivate, and retain employees and empower people. And to some businesses also, contribute to the society. So these are the basic purpose of a business, any business. But for today's purpose, I'm mainly talking about the for-profit business. And then we also have owner investor. What is their purpose? Is income is the number one objective. And then independence and freedom, independence on whatever we want to do, to do things that we desire, either to help people or, just have income for ourselves. And then other investor owners' purpose is political and social connection and influence. We all are very familiar, how much money and, this kind of thing, power, influence the politics. So social connection and political influence is also, of course, the purpose of the owner investor. And you have seen a lot of people who are very charitable. They earn money and donate to different charities, different causes. So that is also the cause that people earn money, and then they can invest or they can put in the cause they deeply care about. And there is also the personal satisfaction that that's the purpose of the owner or investor. But the reality is not all business succeed. There is a data from SBA which says about 2/3 of the business 5 years. My own experience and looking into resources. One is lack of knowledge and skill, knowledge about the product, knowledge about the market, knowledge about the people, knowledge about managing business overall. So lack of knowledge and skill is one reason. Another reason is not having proper business strategy. And then business strategy and plan business fail. Poor entry time or exit timing is also the reason why businesses fail. Poor customer service and lack of customer loyalty. When we have, our customer service is not good, customers do not become loyal. The business fail. And inability to adapt to market dynamics and changing technology. So this is another big reason. I'm sure you guys probably hear there was a video of the company, the Blockbuster or something like that. So that the company doesn't exist or business is not there because they could not, carry on with the technology. Now we are in a Netflix, generation where all those, the companies who could not continue had to fail. And then poor resources planning is another reason. And expanding too fast and beyond capacity. Sometimes companies, grow too fast and stress too much their capacity and they fail. And of course, bad leadership and lack of long-term vision is another reason why companies fail. And lack of morale and motivation is also the morale and motivation of both the investors, owners, and also the motivation of the employees is another reason why business fail. So, and other, now we touched about the failure. Now there is also hope. The hope is, the businesses succeed, right? So, there are 7 factors of business success that I call it. These factors are really applicable from the business plan all the way to running the business successfully. The number one, the key, the central theme is the right motivation, right? When I say right motivation, is the passion, thinking positively, thinking rationally is the right motivation. That's the center. And then you got to have a right product idea. You got to have a right knowledge about the product ideas that you just generated. We might come up with some crazy ideas, but if we do not have knowledge, we will not succeed. So you got to have a right knowledge, and then right investment. You have an idea, you have knowledge, you also need money to earn money. So the right investment, and then we have everything, but we also need right type of people to be the part of the business. The right type of employee, right type of partners, right people that we need. And then you need right market and right price. You got to launch, you got to have a product in right business, right place, right market, right price. And then the timing also has to be right. timing. When I say timing, is the timing of the economy, timing of the season, timing of the so many different factors. You got to be in the right time. So once we have all these things, a business succeeds. So these are the basic 7 factors. So in all these, in every steps of this business success, what we need is the motivation. Really, motivation is the key. That's why I put motivation right in the center of this success factor. So the motivation is the starting point. And then what you need is the wellness. So now you see how it builds slowly, So I call employee motivation chakra. Chakra is basically a wheel. I come from Nepal, have a little bit of Sanskrit, Nepali, Hindi background. So the term, the chakra is a wheel, right? So the first is motivation. So when you have motivation, then you have productivity. When the employees are motivated, when the owners are motivated, they become more productive. We become more productive. And then when we are more productive, we have motivation, we are productive, and then there's retention. Retention from both sides. Employer will retain you, and the employee will be retained, and they will have more motivation to stay with the company. That results into profitability. And then now the wellness, what you need is the wellness to be motivated. So this cycle here, the chakra is, your motivation is the starting point, and then you have a productivity, retention, profitability, wellness. So in every single step, to keep people motivated, you need wellness, right? To keep people productive, you need motivation and wellness. So if you are profitable, then you can invest into wellness of the employee. And then they become motivated. So this is a chakra. This is a wheel that kind of circles around. And in every single time, my true feeling is motivation is the starting point, and wellness is the key. Now, other point is where do we fit the mindfulness or into the business strategy? So where to fit mindfulness into business strategy is, as I said earlier, so the wellness is the key. Now let's look into the 2 levels. One is the strategic level and another is tactical level. So basically, I'm sure you guys know the strategy is broader, bigger, bigger umbrella. Tactics are the small activities that we do to support our strategy or our ultimate goal. So the strategic level, you gotta have the companies ought to have a employee wellness program, we call say EWP for making it easier. And then the tactical level, mindfulness at workplace, a similar program that we can launch. So these are 2. Now we can kind of dial down a little deeper. In a strategic level, employees are treated as intellectual capital, right? So these are this is the fundamental thing that I think the corporate world is lacking. Maybe we as mindfulness teachers can help sensitize this world. And employee has to be treated as intellectual capital. They has to be treated as a stakeholder for the success of the company. So that's the fundamental. And then now we have to build the wellness program is defined in the HR policy, handbook, manual, whatever you call it. So in a strategic level, wellness program has to be there. So wellness program, when we say it's a really, really big area, wellness program, it starts anywhere from health insurance to sick leave to, the gym membership to, there are a bunch of things we could do. And the formal employee wellness program, has to be there. And where does mindfulness come is really a part of employee wellness program. Mindfulness is a key component, and the corporation has to utilize, our employee wellness program to attract and retain the talent. So in a strategic level, we have to think about really creating a wellness program. But now the reality is, can every business afford to create an employee wellness program? Probably not. That's the situation we are in. A lot of company, you struggle to run everyday business. And when you go out and try to pitch, hey, you got to have an employee wellness program. What are you talking about? Right? So we'll come to a very difficult situation. So now let's look into tactics, right? So when we look into tactics, so in tactical level, mindfulness at workplace or similar type of program, the companies can do it. Whether you have, 5 people company or 500 people, mindfulness at workplace is a tactical program that, company can introduce. We can even have an wellness committee or designated mindfulness champion who actually helps, lead such the initiative. We could do that. And, depending on size of the company and the resources we have, we could also do gym, yoga, meditation room, those type of things. And then of course, mindfulness meditation training has to be provided because, you need a champion, you need a master to at least, kick a start, get these things going. And you have to have a periodic refresher training for regular practice now. We practice regularly, but we still need some kind of training sometimes. So it's the refresher trainings are also an important part of the tactical activity. And wellness incentive to increase employee participation. This is actually a very common practice. There are a lot of companies, if you Google it, it's a kind of, carrot and stick, the theory they call it. So basically, having employee, join the, employee wellness program so that, there are a lot of benefits like, you have less absenteeism, they're motivated, they come to work every day and they become more productive, the work-life balance is better, the interpersonal relationship is better. So there are a lot of things that happen. So the company actually, depending on the resources, they can also provide an incentive program. And the start could be very small. Sorry, I missed the small. It could be very small, like, we could do Mindful Monday, or Wellness Wednesday or Fun Friday. You could do anything, like something really small to continue motivating, the employees. So this is something that we have to, educate or coach to our clients that, we'll be promoting mindfulness services. And also the, walk together, meditate together, foster a sense of community. It's basically, in a way, kind of creating Sangha within the company without using probably the term as Sangha or chakra or something like that. In a very, non-technical way, we can help educate. So these are the things that really can be done in a tactical level. And really my final thought, in a way it's a sales pitch, how, for us, this is for us, not for business, for as a mindfulness, kind of entrepreneur or teacher that someday, we go talk to business, is that, so begin the conversation. This is the key. We got to talk. We got to talk about, what we do. We got to talk about our practice. So the pitch is, we have to start the conversation. We are in this wonderful, wonderful journey. This is just an amazing thing. Learning mindfulness and our passion to teach people is just great. So we got to begin our conversation. And then educate that mindfulness is more than a meditation, right? So this is the kind of thing is, hey, you talk mindfulness and meditation. Meditation is a key tool, but this is not all. Mindfulness, brings a lot more, brings peace, joy, happiness, productivity, brings the harmony, brings profit for the company. So, there are a lot of things, it's just not just a meditation. I think it's almost, what do you call it, the myth that is meditation. It's not only that, it is more than that. So we have to educate. And then refine our sales pitch based on the size of the client. As I said earlier, some are, billion-dollar, corporation who already have employee wellness program, and some companies, small, like, 5 people, 10 people company who have struggled to, run every day, and, owner is burning out. So based on different situation, we have to cater our sales pitch to the right size of group. For example, we can introduce a complete package, right? We can bring yoga. I hear that a lot of participants of this mindfulness teachers training program already have a yoga studio, or do it, or somehow teach it. Or our coordinator friend Heather, she's a Reiki master, she might already be doing those. So if you're already doing some of these things, how to incorporate this, right? So say, hey, I'll do a complete package. These days, it's being resourceful, being going there as a resourceful person to bring all the resources together. Right? If somebody already has, EWP, maybe subcontract mindfulness training program. Maybe we could say, hey, I don't want to go. I'm a mindfulness. I just want to stick there. That's fine. So, but maybe we talk to the, employee wellness program. By the way, some of these programs are in-house, and some of this company also contract outside third party, right? So maybe our partner is outside third party, which we go and speak. I can help, run the mindfulness, workplace mindfulness programs. We do that. Or for a small business, maybe, just run mindfulness as a standalone program, that you can also do that. Educate the benefit, right? So benefit is, again, I tie this to speak the industry language. Industry language is productivity, profitability, employee morale, motivation. So if you talk to any company, and say that, hey, this one practice bring this 5, 6, 10 different things, I think it's easy to sell. I think, our clients would be very, very interested to incorporate, mindfulness into the business strategy. So this is the key. You got to educate benefits, and you speak their language, right? And then share the industry best practices. There are the companies like, it's easy to find the bigger company like Nike or Google, or, those Stripe, AstraZeneca, those have they have a mindfulness or employee wellness program by themselves. Last week, I was in East Coast traveling, one of the multinational company. I see that like mindfulness at workplace, this like Thursday or something, right there in the big screen of the company. I was so happy to see that, so some companies are already doing it. Maybe we share some of those best practices, and maybe one idea is just offer introductory class. Hey, you want to do the test? I'll give you a free sample. Maybe we'll come and do a 30 minutes, mindfulness at workplace program, or similar to that. So these are the basic, ideas that I just wanted to share, with you. Again, this is something, a little bit of I know that I want to share, and maybe we can discuss more, open the floor for further discussion. And let me stop sharing the screen.
So, yep, perfect. Thank you, Sattan. I want a mindful Monday and a fun Friday. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see. We have almost a half an hour for questions. I wanted to open it up to the group, and I just ask that folks that do have questions use the chat feature to ask them. So, does anyone have any questions for Sattan?
Elaine, I'm sorry about your difficulty hearing some of the talk.
Oh, that's okay. It wasn't for too long. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, Sattan, you were just breaking up a little bit. I loved the chakra diagram. And I think there were so many ideas. I'm going to be chewing on them and processing them myself. Would you be willing to share your presentation on the website? Are you?
Yeah, Absolutely, no problem. Sure.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll put it up there and I'll attribute it to you. So we do have a question from Robert. He's asking what your job is and can you explain further?
Okay. My job is, my background is sales and marketing. Let me start from the background, actually. That's how I started. But right now, I'm a president CEO of a small, medium-sized revenued company.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me also, mainly we manufacture biochemical for human diagnostics. So, you go to your, doctor's office, or you do your regular health exam, you do your cholesterol, glucose, and all the thing that probably uses the chemical that we manufacture.
Okay, so I have another question from Anne. And Sattan, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this maybe in your research for best practices, but she asks, how many pitches does it usually take before the company agrees to take this on? Do you have a sense of that?
That's a really, there is no exact answer to that question. The reason is it also depends on the motivation of the people that you're talking, motivation of the company, the resources the company has it. So there is probably no exact number, but based on my experience working on different fields, what I can say is it requires multiple effort, continuous effort. Don't take no as an answer. Continue your conversation, and the business would come at the right time. So we just don't know what the right time is. So the key here is consistency.
Okay, thank you, Sattan. We have another question from Lauren. She's wondering if you've actually pitched this to any business yet yourself.
That's right. I actually pitched to my own company.
Oh, you pitched your own company?
I pitched my own company. I bring this conversation about, meditation and mindfulness. Like I said, of course, nobody, would say no to what I said because, I lead the company. But again, you can sense there's not much interest, right? And then I took a completely different turn. I said, hey guys, I want to do a employee wellness program. We have pretty generous, in healthcare and other, membership, the gym membership and all the things. But I said, hey, I want to do a employee, employee wellness program, and I need 3 volunteers. So probably within 1 hour, 3 hands came up, right? And then they came to me and say, hey, what do you want us to do? I say, hey, maybe, you could do the hiking, you could do go to beach volleyball and beach cleanup, and maybe meditation. I said, oh, that's great. One recent example, I pitched my own company.
I'm so excited that you did that, Sattan. That's new. When did you do that?
Very recently.
Okay, I want to hear more later. That's amazing. Okay, we have a question from Eileen. How do you make your first contact? I mean, you told us how you made your first contact, but do you have a sense of how other people do it?
As I said in my last presentation, is have the conversation. Conversation is the key. You never know who would bring you the business, who would bring you the revenue. So the first contact is, I'll give you an example. When you're traveling, you're sitting next to the person, a person sitting next seat that where you are in the plane, right? That could be a contact. Any opportunity that interact with the people is essentially your contact. Your neighbor could be a contact. Your neighbor could be an HR manager, or he or she knows somebody who is responsible and have a, kind of, have those type of desire. So, basically, if you look into the business side, it's mainly, human resources or wellness program people, or the, upper management and board members, the executives, or maybe, if you have access to, CEO or any decision maker would be the first contract. But, for me, really, any person that I talk is a prospect, and then so that would be that I would say. And how do you make a first contact? It's just a conversation. I'll give you an example. I met with a friend of mine. I knew him kind of, not a deeper ways. He say, "Hey man, you look so happy. What's up? What's going on?" I say, "Hey, this is all meditation, man." Right? So I say, "What? How does it work?" So we started, communicating, and then it gets into different. So, as I say, I'm a sales guy. Sales and marketing is my background. So do not hesitate to really talk about it. At the first time they would take you as an alien, maybe, but that's okay. That's okay.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, we technically have 20 minutes left. Is there anything else the group would like to talk about while we have this time together?
Are we supposed to write that in the chat box?
That would be good. Yeah, just it's the recording thing. Just as a reminder, some people don't like to be recorded on the video, but the recording will pick up anyone who speaks. So I'm just trying to be respectful of people's privacy. So yeah, entering into the chat is preferable, at least to start with. Okay, so I have a question from Anne. Is this something you envision charging for, or is it just an add-on benefit to the employees? So this is for Sattan.
This would also depend on the company resources. It typically, let me think as an employee, right? I may or may not be interested to pay for meditation, a mindfulness program. So, it would be ideal, if company have resources, again, we can force, we can only encourage. So ideally, it will be the part of all the program already out there. So it will be a, maybe extra cost, not cost, maybe investment for the employers. Again, the employees may or may not be very keen to invest. Like there are people like you and me who have spent like $6,000-7,000 for this program, but there will be people who, again, would not see the benefit and not be interested to pay.
So, Anne, I have more information for you. I don't know if you made our last or our previous presentations, but most people do charge. I mean, Sattan is at an executive level within his own company, so he's introducing the concept from the inside. Isabel, the founder of this group, she also is internal, and she does not charge. I mean, she gets a salary, and she does organizational development and coaching, and she integrates the mindfulness into that. So I think if you're inside the organization, you usually do it as part of your existing role or as an add-on at no extra charge. But if you're going into an organization that is not your own as an external expert, then you definitely charge, definitely, even if it's a small amount, so that there's skin in the game, and we've heard that from other people in previous calls too. So I just wanted to supplement or add to what you said, Sattan. Also, let's see, Annette, she says, I understand that some companies tie mindfulness to the company KPIs, the key performance indicators. can you please go into more detail as to how that's done? Are you familiar with that one, Sattan?
Yeah, I will, not exactly with the mindfulness, but, similar.
Sattan, you're cutting out your audio. You're frozen. I don't know if you can actually do anything about it.
Incentive program, right? So when you are doing your employee annual review or, setting up objective for the employee, in my own experience, I have encouraged certain employees to take the training courses, right? Go ahead and do this training, but this is a non-financial for the end of the year. We'll invest in this training, but once you take this training in this year, this will be kind of an added point to your annual review, right? So these would be the, I think one way would be really in employee level, setting that as a objective, like MBO type of situation, MBOs type of objective. You could do that. Or, if you are in a senior executive level and you have an HR manager, maybe, one idea would be to making that a goal of HR manager to conduct, certain number of, mindfulness program or similar to that for the benefit of the employee, and make that a part of, like, measurable indicator.
So, Sattan, you actually cut out audio like in the beginning of the KPI answer. Do you remember how you started? Would you be able to repeat that part?
Heather, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but you're freezing up. You were freezing up a little bit. Do you remember the first couple sentences you were talking about KPI?
Yeah, what I was saying is my own experience in the employee level. It can be a in an annual review when you are, if you have a formal, structure where you review your employee, have defined objectives. So taking mindfulness training could be a part of that MBO or objective to the employee. That's an employee level, right? But if you don't interact with the employee, but you have the middle manager who does manage your human resources. So it could also be that manager's objective. Say, hey, have one mindfulness class for each employee in every quarter or something like that. So that way it becomes kind of more measurable, like the training component. My own experience, as I was saying earlier, was, encouraging employee to take certain type of training, right? For the sales employee, take, a training by, American Management Association, or, the Carnegie, they have also, like, programs. So, and these are put as a part of the KPI at the end of the year, you review that. So that's the kind of, really training level. And then the bigger is maybe you look at productivity, or, if there's a way to measure like happiness index or something, that this goes much deeper.
Great. So yeah, I did some work at Wells Fargo, and the executive level managers had a balanced scorecard, and they had different categories that they were measured and compensated against. So I think it's really good to know what the existing categories are. Like, it's a question that you could ask the HR person or the C-level person, how they're compensated, or what they're compensated on, and what their performance metrics already are, and then see how the mindfulness can fit into it. Definitely, if they have that training bucket, if they have that category, this would very naturally fit into the training, as Sattan was saying. So it's just good to have that conversation with them about how they're measured. Okay, so Anne says, thanks for that update and congrats. How long do you think it took you to prepare for the 1 hour lunch and learn? So Anne, are you referring to what he did with his own company, or for this conversation?
No, I was referring to what Annette said in the chat right before that.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. All right, Annette, did you want to respond to that? If you're fine with being on camera.
Fine. I'm happy to answer the question. And it took me quite a long time because I wasn't familiar with Google Slides. So it took me a lot longer to prepare for it, only because of the technical aspect. But I put a lot of hours into it. I probably left a lot of money on the table as well because it was my first time doing it, and I just wanted the opportunity and the reference, the experience. But I don't know if that answers your question. I didn't really track the hours, but it was a lot.
Yeah, thanks. That's what I kind of would expect, but I appreciate it, you sharing it. And really, that's a great way to start. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And congratulations, now you already put a lot of hours, and it will be much easier next time. And also, within our group, like there are different slides and presentations, Heather and Isabel have been updating, uploading. So these are pretty good slides. Even for my 2 days presentation, I kind of looked into some of those and said, all right, yeah, I could kind of make this a talking point, So yeah, it's a really great resource, and really congratulations. I think you did the main hardest part.
Thank
Next
you
would
very
be
much.
easier.
Yeah, and then also getting paid for it. I think it's really challenging for people doing this kind of work to make that leap and ask for money, to know how much money to ask for. It's just different. It's a different thing to deal with. And we do have, when some people are kind of asking about the initial client engagement or the sales part, there are some talking points that Annette gave to the group, and the talking points are on the website too. So, what you can actually say to people to engage them in conversation. All right. Okay, so Eileen is just asking about the message from Annette. I think we talked a little bit about that. Eileen, if you want, there's a message from Annette. There's like a paragraph, and that's what it's referring to in the chat. So if you click on the chat icon, you can see the thread of questions from everybody. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I went to the chat room, and for some reason it's not showing up on my screen about the luncheon and how much she charged. It's not there. That's why I was asking.
Oh, okay. So were you wondering how much she charged? Because she didn't.
Well, yeah, I was wondering about, now I'm hearing something about a luncheon and that she charged for it, and I don't see anything about it. I missed out on that because I don't have the printed.
Okay. All right, so did you have another question for Annette that she didn't talk about?
Well, I don't even know what the discussion is about because it's missing from my thread for some reason.
So Annette, do you want to encapsulate what the comment that you made?
So I just shared with the group that I had, the subject had come up about charging, and I had just completed a lunch and learn at a bank this past week, and I charged money for it. Given the number of hours that it took for me to prepare, I certainly didn't charge enough. It was my first time doing it, so I didn't ask, what's your budget? Like Heather said, this is a very delicate area for some of us who've never done this before to ask about. But it was 1 hour, and I was paid $200. I charged $200, but they didn't blink either. They didn't try to negotiate, so I knew I left money on the table, but you live and learn as well as you lunch and learn.
Thank you, Annette. Yeah, I think from Clea is a practitioner that's been doing this for about 15 years. She's also Sattan and my mentor, and she has very clear rates outlined on her website. And how she approaches is she says, this is my fee. She doesn't start by asking what the budget is. She just says, this is how much I charge. And then she waits for the person to respond. So, and if they say that's too expensive, she then says, let's work together to try to find a price that works for both of us. So that's how she approaches things. And in terms of figuring out how much she charges, she thinks about how much she wants to work for the year, and then kind of works backwards in terms of how much she charges. And then also just the intuitive part, like, you know, she charges as much as she can without cringing. So that's kind of the intuitive part for her. And I know that Rachel is also a practitioner. She's been doing this for a couple of years in Australia. And she's gotten to the point where she charges $6,000 for a 1-hour introductory session. That amount would make me cringe. I wouldn't feel comfortable asking for that, but she started off with $1,000 per one introductory session. And then, but you also have to think about the market. She's in Australia. I don't know how much competition she has there. It's very individual in terms of what you're comfortable with. Alrighty, so we're kind of closing up here. Are there any last minute questions, or Sattan, do you have any last words of wisdom for us?
And it was $6,000 an hour. The question is minutes. Maybe yes. That's what I heard.
What's your comment? What about the 6,000 an hour?
No, she was asking, is she heard the right? Like,
I didn't see that. Yes, those are the correct amount of zeros. 6,000.
Math I left on the table, so thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Sattan, yes.
Yeah,
Sattan.
absolutely. The final words. Number one, thank you. You know, I'm not an expert. You know, I'm one of you guys. You know, we're just trying to share, you know, each of our, you know, experience and knowledge. So thanks for listening to me. Really, this is a wonderful evening that you get to listen to me, and thanks for the opportunity. And again, I always say, you know, this is a beautiful, beautiful journey. You know, whether we teach or not teach or whatever we do, you know, this will take us much, much, you know, further. So let's keep doing what we're doing, and you know, let's congratulate ourselves once again, and have a good evening.
All right, thanks again, Sattan. Next month, we're going to be meeting on November 25th, but at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And the topic is meditation and the law. We're going to have 2 lawyers speaking. One lawyer is going to be talking about legal considerations to kind of protect ourselves doing a business practice. And the other lawyer will be talking about how to best customize meditation sessions in a law setting, in a legal setting, to law firms and legal educational institutions. So that's what's coming next. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot Isabel and me an email. Okay? Thanks everybody for coming. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.